So PHP is a server-side language, and it should go without saying that we need a server. So we can't just parse PHP simply on our desktop or in our Windows or Linux machines. We need to have some kind of server. With JavaScript, we could just put it right into an HTML file and just use it right on our desktop. So you have a couple options. You can use your hosting, your private web or whatever, whoever you use for a web host or dedicated server or something like that, or you could use a platform like XAMPP or WAMP, which will give you an Apache server, PHP, and MySQL all on your, in this case would be our Windows machine. Okay, so I'm going to go over how to install that. We're going to install XAMPP, but again, you can use your web server. So to download XAMPP, we want to go to ApacheFriends.org, and you just click on XAMPP, and we want XAMPP for Windows, and it's available for Mac and Linux. So what this includes is Apache, MySQL, PHP 5.4, PHPMyAdmin, which we use to interact with the database, and then FileZilla, and this stuff we don't really care about right now. We already have FileZilla installed. This is a server. This is the FileZilla server. And we also have a control panel which we can admin all this stuff. So it's really good. It's open source and it's free, so that's always good. So what I'm going to do is go down to download, and I'm going to download XAMPP, and I'm going to download the installer. Okay, I'll just save that, and it's a pretty big file. It's almost 100 megabytes, so it might take a few minutes. I'm actually going to pause the video and come back when it's done. Alright, so our XAMPP file is now downloaded, so I'm going to go to that, and it's just going to install just like any other Windows application. Alright, so this is just giving us a warning that we're using the user account control system on Windows. You can go to control panel and shut it down or shut it off, but I'm just going to leave it because there shouldn't be any issues. So we're just going to run through the wizard. You can install everything here if you want, but I'm actually going to leave out Tomcat, Mercury Mail Server, and FileZilla. Okay, I'll keep everything else. And I'm just going to use the default location. I'm not sure what this Bitnami is. I've never seen this. I don't really care. So this will just take a minute. Alright, so now we're getting a pop-up that's requesting permission through the firewall. I'm just going to say allow access. Alright, so now it's asking if we want to start the control panel. We're going to keep that checked and click finish. So this is the control panel. If you remember, I opted not to install these three, so Apache and MySQL is all we really need here. Now we're actually seeing an error here that Apache will not start because port 443 is in use. I think that this has to do with the UAC, the user access control in Windows. So I'm going to actually disable that. I'm going to go to Control Panel. I think it's in System and Security. User Account Settings. I'm going to drag this down to the bottom, Never Notify. Click OK. Now let's try to restart the... Oh, I guess we got to restart the actual machine. So I'm just going to restart. And now we're back, and I'm going to go to my XAMPP control panel, and hopefully that error is cleared up. Looks like it is. Alright, so what I'm going to do is we can choose to start and stop the Apache and MySQL services if we want, or we can install them as a core service that will start with Windows and will always run. So I'm going to do that by clicking on these X's. And we can still start and stop from here. So I'm going to start both. Alright, so now on our local machine we have Apache running with the latest version of, I think it's the latest version of PHP installed, and we have a MySQL database. So if we go to computer, the default installation of XAMPP is right in the C drive, and if we click on the XAMPP folder we see a bunch of other folders, and this is basically our web server. We have PHP installed, we have Apache, we have MySQL, Perl, all kinds of stuff. So the folder that we want to use for our websites and web applications is the htdocs folder, and that's equivalent to your public HTML or your www folder. So this is where we want to build our applications, and by default we already have some stuff in here. Alright, so we have some images, our favicon, and let's just go to, you can access your server in two different ways. You can use 127.0.0.1, or you can just use localhost. Okay, and by default when you install XAMPP and you go to localhost, it redirects you to the XAMPP folder, which is right here, and to the splash.php page, which is right here. Now you don't need to do, you can get rid of this XAMPP folder if you want and then just access the root of your server, but we're going to use this little panel for a minute. So we want to click on our language, in my case is English, and we have a couple things here we can do. We can access PHPMyAdmin from here, FileZilla if we installed it, and some other stuff. But what we need to do is click on Security. And right now our MySQL admin user does not have a password. And we are on a local machine, so you don't really need it, but I would definitely suggest just getting in the habit of giving your database a password, your database user a password. So it's very easy. All you have to do is click on this link here and select a password. Alright, so looks good. I'm just going to click on password changing. Alright, so it was successfully changed. Now we have to restart MySQL, and that's easy. All you have to do is click stop and start. Alright, and we can also access PHPMyAdmin. I'm not going to go into it now because we actually have a section dedicated to this stuff, so but we can access it, and I'm going to use the password I just created. And these are just sample databases over here with tables. We can create a new database if we want. I'm not going to do this now. This is the next chapter. So let's see, what should we do? Let's just create a directory, and let's just call it test. Now we can do whatever we want here. I'm just going to create a new text document and call it index.html, and I'll open it, and I'm just going to write testing, save that. So now I can go to localhost/test, and we get our index.html file. Now I can change this to index.php, and now if I reload, it's still working. Now we couldn't run this index.php file anywhere else on our system. It has to be in our web server htdocs. If I copy it here and paste it on the desktop and try to open it, I'm going to try to open it with I'm going to open it with Chrome. It says testing, but this wouldn't parse PHP. So actually, let me prove that to you so you know I'm not lying. Let's say PHP echo test. So I'll save that and reload, and it actually has the text. It shows the text of the PHP tags. So if we do the same thing in our test on our server, let's open that up, save that, and go back to localhost/test, and you can see it's printing out test. It's not showing us the actual text in the file, it's parsing the PHP. So that's where we'll be building our applications. We'll have different folders. So now if you followed along, then your computer should be prepared to start writing PHP.